Privacy and AI. What privacy risks does AI create? How can companies embrace AI? And can AI be a solution for privacy protection? Well, all this and more with none other than Federico Marengo, who is an author of AI and privacy book as well. Well, not this one, that's me. And that one talks about the governance of AI and how do you set up AI and privacy programs. I'm talking about this one. Privacy and AI by Federico Marengo, and it is about protecting individuals' rights in the age of AI. So it's a deep dive into the legal space, and it's a very good read. For now, let's go and talk to Federico in the Fit for Privacy podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Fit for Privacy Podcast with Punit Bhatia. This is the podcast for those who care about their privacy. Here, your host, Punit Bhatia, has conversations with industry leaders about their perspectives, ideas, and opinions relating to privacy, data protection, and related matters. Be aware that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are not legal advice. Let us get started.
So here we are with Federico. Welcome, Federico, to the Fit for Privacy podcast.
Thank you very much, Punit, for having me here. I'm very happy to be part of your podcast, which is very well known. So let's get started.
Thank you so much. And let's get started with a very simple question. AI or artificial intelligence? When you think about that, what is the one word that comes to your mind?
It's an interesting question. I think that it would say innovation,
Yeah.
because we always think about AI as an static process, but we are always innovating and moving forward and developing new systems and new features with which we can improve the outputs of the systems.
I agree with you. It's about innovation and it can create a lot of opportunities and options. But how do you see the AI or artificial intelligence evolving in last few years? Because AI, if we look at it in the broader sense of it, has been there for almost 50 years or even more. So there has been artificial intelligence, there has been automation. But how do you see this evolution in last, say, few years or something? And
Well, this is also a good question because, as you said, it is not artificial. The word artificial intelligence is not new. You mentioned it before. It has more than 50 years. I would say that it has 70. I think that the first time it was coined, it was in 1956. So we can say that there is a long way on artificial intelligence. But I think that there were many developments that have completely changed the way in which we are using and enjoy, taking the fruits of AI. First of all, the improvement in hardware, the improvement of computational power that duplicates every 2 years the capacity of hardware to process information. It provides the groundwork for getting more and more computational power, and also the information available. So now we live in the digital era, and before, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, there were paper records. So there were little information in digitalized manner. So if you put together the increase in the computational power and the information available, you can see that a lot of artificial intelligence systems can be developed, and artificial intelligence more powerful. But going more concretely on how it's changed in the last couple of years, we can see that there are different waves in what we consider or where we put our attention in artificial intelligence. Because let's remember, artificial intelligence is in general software. It is like any other software, but it can have different implications or different connotation, different features. Previously, I in around 2016, 2017, there were claims about artificial intelligence because of predictive policing. You remember the Compass case in the US, or other cases where individuals were profiled, or they were profiled in order to see whether they could commit crimes or not. And this was it creates outcry in the US. Then more recently, we have the problematic of facial recognition, in particular when it is used for law enforcement. We've seen it in the 2019. This was also interesting. It was the basis of many reports, many investigations. But now we have a totally different AI, which is what we can call generative AI or large language models, in which we can use AI systems to produce materials, either text like ChatGPT or videos, images. So I think that nowadays generative AI is the most. It is in the mouth of almost everyone, and we are. I think that it created a new point, in of discussions on AI.
I agree with you. And when we say that it started in 1940s and 50s and automation and all that, I have an interesting anecdote. I was reading in a book that Plato, the philosopher, in about 300 or 400 BC, was saying that when they started to write things, he said that's automation. And he said he was strongly against it, and he said putting too much trust into future intelligence by writing things of past would only diminish the human intelligence. And he was against, and he said writing should only be to remind people rather than use as an intelligence. So the debate that we are having now in 2023, or even later 24 and even 25, is a debate which has been going on for last 2400 years per
Yeah.
se, because that's how it has been. Every time there's a new development, people say, oh, that's going to be counterproductive, that's going to kill the human intelligence and all that. But we've survived so many years, and I'm very sure we will survive many, many more.
Uh,
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I don't agree with those claims that says that, well, it is the end of
yeah,
human beings as we know, or the end of humanity. Of course, there might be systems which are completely different, and entails a total different setup, like AGI or artificial general intelligence. But I think that we are far from reaching that point. I think that many things will change, of course, but it also changed with any other technological developments, like cars, like the invention of the telephone, the invention of electric lights. So I think that it will require from us a lot of effort to adapt to the new technologies.
I'm very sure, and I'm fully agree with you. AI is not going to kill the human race. AI is not going to be stealing all our personal data. It is not going to be a more mission impossible or a Star Wars kind of a scenario. It's going to be okay. There would be challenges, but we will solve them. And you mentioned, or you wanted to probably refer, and then you probably refrained. There's also something called generative AI that people are talking about these days. Do you have a view on that also?
Yes, well, generative AI, as we know it, is artificial intelligence that can produce in general. We are most shocked by ChatGPT and large language models that
Yeah.
produce text. So it can create information from prompting. When we insert some prompts in the software, it can create different kind of results. It can be text, which is at least for my job, or for my interactions with the with the technology, is the one that I am most used. and more interested in. But also it can create also videos, sounds, images. So it gives us a lot of important things to work on. But also, as you know, not everything is gold, or not everything is roses. It also creates huge risks, because you know that the ability to create videos from persons, the ability to create voice from to extract the voice and create dialogues, it can lead to the creation of deep fakes. So as long as with the technology, we have to be fully aware of the risks that we are putting, and how we can mitigate them when we are using these technologies.
I think fully with you, and maybe if we go deep into that part of the deep fakes, I think it can also create some privacy risks in general. Because if you start extrapolating the data and continue to say create images, create text, create personal data, and so many things, and maybe create deep fakes and create videos, would it create a huge amount of privacy challenge also?
Yes, and here is where we can discuss. I would say for a couple of for a couple of days, because yes, it creates. I think that it creates many risks. I don't think, and personally, I think that I am the on the minority. For instance, when it comes to ChatGPT, I don't think that it creates severe risks. It creates some. I think that the most problematic risks for organizations using and sorry, I refer to your organization because I work with
No, it's okay.
organization, but it also creates risk for individuals using it. I think that the most problematic risks are related also not only to personal data, but also to confidential company information, and to proprietary information, because it is not entirely clear what will be, for which purposes will be used this information, even though we have some assurances from service providers. We don't fully know, and we know that information can also be leaked. But for instance, to name a couple of examples of risks that I see that can be created, um, you know that when it creates images and text, images and videos or voice, you can also lead to the generation of deepfakes. Imagine, for instance, right now it started a new war in Middle East. So you can have also warfare and deepfakes, or also the intervention in political discussions. You can have deepfakes used by criminal actors, or people who wants to meddle into elections. But also, I think that we need to be conscious, and we need to be aware of what information we are providing. For instance, when we speak about LLMs, because again, even if we have some assurances, in particular if we use, for instance, paid versions of the systems, that the information will not be used for training AI systems, you need to know that, and you need to be careful of what information are you feeding the software with, because first, it can be the case that this information is used to train the system, or also this information, even if it is not used to train the system, this information is already fed into the system, and if the system suffer from a data breach, this information can be in the wild. So we need to be careful with the information that we put to the systems.
You mentioned the term LLM.
Yes.
If I understand well, you mean the large language models, right?
Yes.
So, what do you mean? Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yes. Well, part of when we maybe sometimes I use the terms interchangeably, but this is not interchangeably. Generative AI is a group of technologies. One of them is large language models, and in large language models we can see text generation. So and the most well-known example is ChatGPT. But there are also service providers like Google with Bard. Microsoft is also providing ChatGPT. But we for instance, if you see translation, DeepL, the AI-powered translator, uses large language models. So large language models can serve different functions, not only text generation but also translation. And we have been using translators for a long time. So even if we are not fully aware that this also came into the category and are covered by the category of large language models, yes, they are also included in them.
Okay, so that's quite insightful that LLMs are also a type of generative AI or generated data. And do you think, while there are challenges, that AI can also be a solution for privacy protection? As you've been writing that book, AI and Privacy, and it's released recently, do you think there's a
Well,
overlap?
yes, I think that, and in fact, there are also many technologies that we are currently using that are supported or they are powered by AI and help us in our job. For instance, if you consider, for instance, firewalls or anti-spam mechanism, they use AI to detect what emails or what SMS are considered as spam or fraudulent. And here we can see how the technology can be used to support either privacy or security, because uh, security is part of privacy, and it is in the interest of all of us. Then you can see data discovery. Data discovery, many service providers offer data discovery services. Data for people that do not know data discovery services. Uh, for instance, when we are doing a data mapping, you don't know where the information is, or when you are answering or seeking for the information to reply to for the response of a DSR, a data subject request, uh, you don't know where the information is. Data discovery can help you to seek into the different systems of the company to pull the information or retrieve the information from the data subject that needs to be provided. So, absolutely, artificial intelligence can help. It can also help using generative AI, because well, you know that the good part is that, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, Federico, you were explaining me about the benefits or how AI can help protect privacy through data discovery, having some intelligence around data breaches and things like that. So that means there are constructive use cases of AI in terms of protecting privacy. But now, to do all that, a company must embrace AI as a opportunity, as a thing to do. Do you have ideas or inputs on how can companies embrace this AI challenge or AI opportunity, whichever way we call it?
Oh, that's. I think that this is a fundamental question, because first of all, we have to think that many uses of AI is taken even without the knowledge of managerials, or even without the knowledge of C-suite people. So first of all, I think that it is important that we train people, we inform people on the acceptable uses and non-acceptable uses of AI. We know that ChatGPT is going to be used by many people in different organizations. So I would say that there are many measures that companies should take. First of all is to start thinking about a privacy, an AI policy, where they can, and this AI policy can have different facets, but the most important would be, first of all, to outline the principles under which privacy should be used or should not be used, and also what are the what are the acceptable uses and non-acceptable uses, and what are the procedures that can be taken when this policy is not followed. Then, of course, it is not also paperwork. We need to work within the organization, within the people of the organization, and increase the awareness of them in the acceptable uses of AI. So training is very important, because we can have the best policy in the world, but if this policy is either not implemented, not understandable, people do not follow, they are not convinced why they are not persuaded why they should follow these procedures, it is impossible to succeed. So working with people via trainings, workshops, making them to understand how this can be used, and also, of course, we will need to make some amendments or some considerations in particular in our field, on how to use generative AI or different AI tools with personal data. But again, personal AI, it is as any other tool. It is a tool. It is software. So we need to be ready. We need to be prepared for different challenges, and privacy should be also embedded into these policies.
I'm fully with you. And you have, just like me and Aline, written a book called AI and Privacy, and it's recently published. Can you tell us something about it? What is it about?
Well, yes, I recently published. It was a couple of weeks ago. I published my book, which is Privacy and AI. It was a very, very long journey. I would say that I started writing the materials with which I after used for the book in 2018, because most of the book is a byproduct of my PhD thesis. I completed the PhD a couple of months ago, so I started writing it on 2018. So it was a very long journey. And well, in this book I have different sections, but on an outline would be that I start speaking about AI. What are the different concepts of AI? I use also I evaluate AI under the light of the proposed AI regulation, which will also be a huge milestone for regulation in Europe. But I think that the most important part is the evaluation of the privacy implication or the privacy challenges of the use of AI. And also I put forward some proposals on how either governments in terms of policy or changing changing laws, or organizations can tackle the challenges of using AI, for instance, using standards where legislation is not enough, not detailed enough, or unclear. Well, we can go and use standards for in some cases as a guidance for the practical implementation of legislative provisions. There are some conceptualizations on the chief AI officer, and this person would fulfill and would evaluate the ethical implication of the use of AI system. It is a position that it is also implemented in some large organizations. Of course, these are the organizations that can afford this kind of position, but these are some of the mechanisms with which we can mitigate the risks posed by AI systems.
Very interesting. And if I may ask you then a personal question, do you use AI in your personal life?
I use it a lot. I can't deny it. I use ChatGPT. I use other AI systems. But yes, I use it. I think that in what I've learned from using, and I think that our conversation revolves always around the generative AI because it is the buzzword. What I've learned is that I think that it is a great technology to use. We need to be aware that the output that we receive, we need to be capable, or we need to be able to understand whether this output is correct or not, because it can create again huge risks if we use it without any consideration of the veracity or the accuracy of the result. But yes, I do use it.
I think it does make sense because there are some good use cases of AI, and if we use it in a responsible manner, it's really helpful. Now, yeah, go ahead.
No, and I think that you hit the nail with the word responsible manner. I think that AI is an excellent tool. It is there for us. It is in the market to help us. It will not replace our job, but as you said, we need to use it responsibly. Using it responsibly means that we need to be fully aware of the risks that it entails. How can we use it, and also what can we do to reduce the risk of AI?
Absolutely. Now, based on this conversation, two questions. I know if somebody wants to buy your book, AI and Privacy, they need to go to Amazon. So I answered that question myself. But the second part of the question is if they want to contact you, what's the best way?
Well, I will also reply your first question. It is also, the book is also in digital version in PayHip. It is another bookstore online, but for the paperback, it is true. It is published on Amazon. But if they want to contact me, I think the best way is via LinkedIn, because I am fairly active in LinkedIn. So yeah, and I try to reply all the messages that I receive. Of course, and sometimes it takes more time. But yes, I think that LinkedIn is the best way to contact me.
Very much so these days. I think for professional platforms or professional connects, LinkedIn is the place to be. So, Federico, thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for sharing your insights.
I am very happy to be here with you. Thank you very much for the invitation, and looking forward to discuss again with you about these really interesting topics.
Sure. And all the best for your book.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much again.
Thanks for listening. If you liked the show, feel free to share it with a friend and write a review. If you have already done so, thank you so much. And if you did not like the show, don't bother and forget about it. Take care and stay safe. Fit4Privacy helps you to create a culture of privacy and manage risks by creating, defining, and implementing a privacy strategy that includes delivering scenario-based training for your staff. We also help those who are looking to get certified in CIPPE, CIPM, and CIPT through on-demand courses that help you prepare and practice for certification exam. Want to know more? Visit www.fit4privacy.com. That's www.fit4privacy.com. If you have questions or suggestions, drop an email at hello@fit4privacy.com. Until next time, goodbye.